Hi guys, welcome to I Doubt It. I'm Mark Shaw, and this YouTube channel is dedicated to people like me who are doubters. If you're questioning the truth, or maybe you're deconstructing your faith, if you're in the faith stage perplexity, then you're going to feel right at home here on this channel. I've been a doubter my whole life. I've had pastors exclaim, "Get over your doubting. You weren't an intellectual when you came to faith, and you're not one now. You just need to believe, and that'll make your faith strong." I've been told that doubting is like your hair growing. So you just need to get a haircut every couple of months. And with faith, that means just choosing to recommit yourself to the things that you're already committed to. I've been told, believe your beliefs and doubt your doubts. That made sense for a while, and when I pursued answers, I was offered something called apologetics. And apologetics, if you know what that means, if you've heard of it, apologetics can be very helpful until it's not. It's helpful to hear about the archaeological evidence of the walls of Jericho falling, just like it says so in the Bible, until you hear that the evidence actually proves the opposite. It's easy to say that the Bible is perfect and has no contradictions until you find contradictions. And then the apologetics don't provide answers. So that's me. I have been on this journey through the desert of doubt for about 40 years. But I have still held on to Jesus. And I still want to follow him, despite all the things that others have found wrong with religion or the church or the Bible, and despite all the things that I have personally experienced while following Jesus. And let me mention just a couple here. Trauma in the church, hypocritical pastors, false teachings, belief in strange magic, taking scriptures out of context, verbal abuse from authority figures in the church, being forbidden by my youth minister from going to a rock concert, being forbidden from going to high school prom, being told that dancing is just sex with your clothes on. Yes, that was told to me in my youth group. Church opinions being labeled as truth. Verbal assault from those outside the church, public malice and lies from newspapers, watching friends leave Jesus, and mostly due to mistreatment, and others being kicked out of their church for not repenting enough or being morally corrupt. And yet, I remain a follower of Jesus. I have learned to separate church and religion from Jesus. I'm not even sure I like the word Christian. It was a derogatory term at the time of Christ, and it was a highly misunderstood word ever since. I prefer to just say, I follow Christ. I like Jesus. I want to be like him. I want to treat people the way he treated people. I see him as my chief mentor, my North Star. I see his words as the foundation for who I want to be and how I want to live and how I want to treat people. So why this channel? Because I don't think I'm alone. I think there's a lot of us out there. It took me years, even decades, to deconstruct my faith and to do it in a healthy way. It took new paradigms, new metaphors, and I wasn't getting a lot of these helpful metaphors within my church because it was just mucking about in the same old, same old. And if our church says that we're the ones who are right, then what can we learn from outsiders? Well, it turns out quite a bit. So what's my goal for this channel? Well, that depends on where you're at and what stage of faith you're at. If you're in stage 1 of your faith, what I call honeymooning with the Lord, then keep it up. If you don't need to deconstruct your faith, and if you're not doubting, then you can just skip this channel. And if you're in stage 2 of your faith, that's the stage where you say, I want answers to my intellectual questions. And in that stage, you might be starting to have some doubts, but I'm not in that stage anymore. And you might not be either. Here comes stage 3. It's called perplexity. Stage 3 of your faith basically says, it still doesn't make sense. I got my answers. I understand them intellectually. And there's things that still don't make sense to me. I need better answers. If your faith still feels like it doesn't make sense, or it feels implausible or incoherent or just irrelevant, then this channel is for you. If you've been traumatized by your church, maybe by your pastors or your preachers or your ministers or your priests, maybe by your church friends, Maybe you've been traumatized even by your own physical family. Then this channel is for you. But I'm going to give you one caveat here. The channel here is not about venting. It's not about spewing out all the things we dislike and we can all feel good about ourselves because we're scapegoating those evil people out there in religion that have hurt us. That's not what this is about. I don't consider that healthy. I think it's cathartic and it feels good, and it's good to get with other people who agree with me and say, yes, you're right. Those people treated us bad. But that's not the point of this channel. Go out there and find, there's got to be lots of people out there who just have pent up and built up anger. Maybe they need that. Maybe that's part of their process, but that's not what this channel's about. Here we're talking about a safe place for those who are in pain, but also a safe place for those who are just searching. Maybe you've been abused somehow in your church or in religion. Maybe you've got trauma. We want to help you. We want to be a safe place for you. If you like Jesus, but you don't like religion, then this channel is for you. If you cringe or you get triggered when you hear certain religious words, then this channel may be for you. I get triggered by certain words. There's a certain lingo that's used in every one of our churches. Every church has their own little words that are special, and I've got words that I kind of have grown up with spiritually, and they just bother me. And I cringe. Sometimes I feel like I have to leave. If I'm at a church service and they start doing this, then I feel like I don't know if I can stay here right now. I'm just going to get a bad attitude, and I get it. But that doesn't mean everything's okay. Often these words aren't even biblical. They're just words that your church culture happens to be using. Maybe you're just allergic. Maybe you're allergic to a certain type of church culture, and you know you need people around you. So I quickly want to share these 3 core concepts with you: the bridge metaphor, the 4 stages of faith, and the road trip to deconstruction. First, let's talk about the bridge. Take a look at my journey. I had a great start, and I had to go through dark places and deep valleys, and I had little or no guidance. And with a lot of effort, I scratched my way up the deconstruction hill. So the first thing I want to show you is how a bridge can provide you a shortcut to actually achieving your goals in a quicker way. So here's my hope for your journey. I want to provide this bridge for you and even be this bridge for you. There's a ton of information out there on the internet. I mean, way too much. And when you just Google it, you're going to get a million answers. And yes, you could probably read everything and figure it all out and take 40 years the way I did. Maybe we can save you a little bit of time and provide you a shortcut and a GPS. The second thing I want to point out here is the 4 stages of faith. And this honestly blew me away when I learned this a few years ago. It makes sense. It's a simple paradigm and it's easy to remember. I have a whole nother class just about this specifically. When we come to our faith initially, we enter what's called stage 1, or simplicity. That's where everything is simple, everything is clear, and because it all seems black and white, this stage is very dualistic. Good, bad, black, white, right or wrong, sinful or righteous. In a sense, this is like the honeymoon. Then we realize that things are gray at times, and that's what we call stage 2 of our faith. That's complexity. We have our questions, and the pastor has some good answers, and he points us to some wonderful books or some wonderful videos that answer our questions. But at some point, those questions aren't truly fulfilling anymore. They feel simplistic. And that's when we enter stage 3, what we call perplexity. And this is the stage that most of us find ourselves in, when we're doubting, when we're questioning, and when we're deconstructing. And bless their hearts, these pastors don't know what to do with us. And then comes stage 4, harmony. We still don't have all the answers, but for some reason, we're okay with that. We're okay with the tension. You're watching this video because you're probably at stage 3 of your faith, perplexity. You might be at the end of complexity, but that's probably why you're here. Finally, the road trip to deconstruction. Some people demolish their faith. They have found all the flaws in religion. They've found the flaws in Christianity or in the Bible, and they honestly can't take it anymore. So they just demolish everything. They don't have a path. They don't have guidance. And so they just destroy, They demolish. They destruct instead of deconstruct. Destruction uses a big tool, like a wrecking ball, and it leaves chaos. And you can't reuse any of the things in the building or in the house that were demolished. It's just dust. Destruction shows no respect for the building, what's inside of it. It shows no honor. It leaves no memory. It just destroys. It's violent, and it makes no exceptions. It's cold, it's brutal, but it is quick, and you might cause more pain than you anticipated. You might cause pain to yourself, you might cause pain to your family, or your friends, or your loved ones, or the people that you really do want to honor, and you might cause a lot of pain, unintended pain, for yourself. And there's also a thing called deconstruction. Have you ever seen someone deconstruct a house piece by piece? I have. My wife's brother did exactly this. They have an estate in Germany that goes back 700 years in their family. And no, I'm not kidding you. That's the 1200s, and that's only as far back as the records show. It may go back even further. So the government doesn't just permit them to build on their property and to do what they want with their property. And the government doesn't allow them to just destroy these old buildings and tear them down or build a new. Not allowed. So when her brother got married and wanted to move into the building that hadn't been used in his lifetime, he had to request permission, but from the government. And he had to ask to deconstruct it, brick by brick, and then reconstruct it. You see, previously, it wasn't really livable. He wasn't legally allowed to live in that old house. So he and a bunch of day laborers spent several years deconstructing that building and then reconstructing that building. And I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. I remember being there when it was gutted, and I remember seeing all the bricks that were scattered everywhere, and then they were cleaned off and reused. Yes, the original bricks. And the cement was cleaned off of the frames. And then the frame was reinforced. And then they started putting it all back together, piece by piece, brick by brick. They started adding cement to each brick. And now it's a beautiful rustic home on the outside and a fully modernized home on the inside. You see, in deconstruction, you remove things respectfully. You clear out the furniture, piece by piece. You carry it out respectfully, keeping it clean. And then you make decisions. Do I keep this piece of furniture or not? Some you may toss, or you might sell, or you might just give away, or you might throw away. Then come the doors and the windows. You start with the hinges, then the actual doors, then the framing for those doors or windows. Then you remove the wallpaper, then the walls, then the pipes, the plumbing, the electricity, and it goes on and on. Do you see the cleaned bricks in this picture? They look different from the ones that are several hundred years old, don't they? Do you see what's at the bottom of the screen here? Bricks. Bricks that were removed and then were cleaned off and they were put back in. Then came the roof. So they had to take it all down, and then they had to put the same level of dedication to the interior. They kept the framework, they kept much of the original wood, but now it's a beautiful rustic home on the outside. And it's fully modernized on the inside. So what I've done is I've put together an online course that I wish I had access to several decades ago. My goal is to walk you through the steps of deconstructing your faith in a healthy way. And I know you've got a vent, and I know you've got feelings, and I want to honor those. And I know you've got pain. I want to walk you through that. I'm going to walk you through even how to deal with the relationships and the pain, how to have the right attitude. The link here is on the screen, as well as in the pinned comment, and it's also in the video description, or you can just scan the QR code. And it's a full money-back guarantee. No questions are asked. And I know that this is a huge topic in society. Almost all churches are deconstructing. There are people in every single church that are deconstructing, and they don't have a place to go. They don't have a guide. They don't have a mentor. They don't have anybody walking them through, holding their hands, giving them guidance. All they have is a whole bunch of podcasts, a whole bunch of books, a whole bunch of online videos that they can just start listening to and hoping that they get there in the next few years. So thanks, guys, for watching. Please do me a favor with the usual YouTube requests. Please like this video, comment on the video. It really does help the algorithm. And if the algorithm realizes that this content is good, it's going to push it out to more people. There's a lot of people out there that need to know that there is guidance available. There are courses available. There are people willing to walk you through from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 in a logical way, in a way that makes sense, in a way that's paced, and you're not just left alone in the wild, wild west. Please subscribe to my channel, and please do me a favor. If there's people that you know who are hurting, who do not feel respected or honored or listened to, and are in pain and don't know what to do with all that pain, all that frustration, but they do somehow want to hold on to their faith, they do somehow want to hold on to Jesus, please share this with them. Please let them know that this channel exists so that we can provide some sort of hope, some sort of inspiration that goes beyond just the intellect and really meets the need. Thank you, guys.